Why hello my fellow apes, I hope you are well. You are in for a blast.
Can people ever be someone else's property? Democrats say yes.
You're going to see Michael Knowles say that it's perfectly fine to burn down private property as long as that property is not being used at the time.
Shouldn't the stage of development at which this woman aborted the building determine whether or not her actions constitute a crime?
And from here, it's only going to get more insane. So let's get to it.
A federal judge has just ordered a woman to pay $298,000 for burning down Wyoming's only full-service abortion clinic. According to NBC News, quote, Lorna Green is already serving 5 years in prison for burning Wellspring Health Access weeks before the clinic was set to open in 2022.
Well, there's the context for you, but I'll give you the details. Laura Green set fire to Wyoming's only full-service abortion clinic, Wellsprings Health Access, just before it was set to open in Casper in 2022. As a result of the fire, the clinic was heavily damaged and delayed its opening for almost a year. Laura was sentenced to 5 years in prison for the arson and has been ordered by a judge to pay nearly $300,000 in restitution, including $240,000 to the clinic's insurer, $33,500 to the building's owner, and $24,500 to the clinic's founder and president. Laura has since expressed remorse for her actions, which she claims were driven by anxiety and nightmares about the clinic. But for the likes of Michael, there is no remorse. Anything that prevents abortion is his friend, and thus he'll bend over backwards to hand-wave away illegal property damage.
But hold on. Can one really call it an abortion clinic if it hadn't opened yet? Shouldn't the stage of development at which this woman aborted the building determine whether or not her actions constitute a crime?
Michael's got his iconic shit grin, I'm so clever look plastered all over his face, but really, he's just broadcasting his cluelessness about the charges. Laura's stint in the slammer and her hefty bill aren't due to the building's intended purpose. No, it's simpler than that. She torched private property. Most of her sorry about your building money is going straight to the clinic's insurer because, setting things on fire is genuinely frowned upon, Michael. You know how when segments of Black Lives Matter were destroying private property and you had an issue? Yeah, it's the same thing. So much for the party of law and order, huh?
I'm not saying the building could not one day have become an abortion clinic. It could have. It was maybe a potential abortion clinic. But when she burned it down, it was not an abortion clinic.
Well, what's really going on is that Michael is trying to draw an analogy between Lorna burning private property and abortion. So just keep that in mind. He's trying to draw some brilliant analogy here.
It was just a clump of bricks. And 5 years in prison seems pretty steep for damaging a clump of bricks.
Imagine if someone decided to give the Daily Wire studio a fiery baptism, burning it to the ground and potentially endangering many lives. Would Michael be cool with the arsonist getting just a 5-year vacation behind bars? And then picture someone saying, hey Michael, chill. The studio wasn't at the time an abortion clinic, so maybe the fire starter should get off easy. No, Michael wouldn't be having any of it.
There are criminals in this country, many criminals actually, who don't even face 5 years in the can for murder.
Okay, Michael, let's hear it. You're saying that loads of people in the US with a murder charge wind up serving less than a 5-year holiday in the clink. How about dishing out some of those juicy examples? In any case, what's the logic here? Because some criminals receive a lighter sentence than Lorna, she should what? Not have to pay the insurance? Go free? What? Please enlighten us, Michael.
I'm Michael Knowles. This is the Michael Knowles Show.
Ouch. Here comes Michael's introduction. I'll tell you one thing for sure. This is going to be worse than serving 5 years.
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, good to be back. I can already hear it. Some people are going to criticize my analogy.
Yep. Yeah, we are.
I'm sure Media Matters is already writing up the hit piece. All the left-wing outlets, they're already writing it up. They're going to say that my analogy does not hold because when a woman has an abortion, she makes the choice to end the life of her own child.
And you know why they're going to reject your analogy, don't you? It's because the whole debate on abortion rests upon when the fetus becomes a human. As someone who draws the line at about 20 weeks, I refuse the analogy from the get-go because a clump of cells isn't a child. To give an analogy of my own, when you bite into an apple and consume one of its seeds, you're not swallowing an apple tree, are you? If Michael is going to begin his analogy by saying that a caterpillar is a butterfly from the get-go, then yes, we're going to call him out.
When a woman has an abortion, she makes the choice to end the life of her own child, which they say is her right. Whereas the woman who burned down the potential abortion clinic, she burned down someone else's property over which she has no rights. I hear it. I know that this is going to be the rejoinder. But then the logical follow-up to that would be, are people property?
Serious question. Does Michael spend any time talking with people who he disagrees with? Because what he's revealing here is that he smugly doesn't know his opposition's position. No, Michael, people are not property, and this is why the pro-choice side is against ending babies. But unlike you, they're not going to say that a seed is a tree.
Can people ever be someone else's property? Democrats say yes. They've said yes to that question a number of times throughout history, but they're wrong. No surprise there. Breaking news, the libs are wrong. Not exactly stop the presses.
What a fascinating straw man from a fascinating man, huh? Now, if Michael's analogy isn't atrocious enough, he later in the episode bolsters it. You're going to love this.
As we mentioned at the top of this show, that there are many Democrats who support the logic of slavery, the premises of slavery, the notion that you can own another person. You see the Democrats, I'm not even just making some point about Democrats or they're true racists or it was the Democrats who owned all the slaves or kind of talking points we've heard in the past. I'm making a point about the politics of today. Democrats today are arguing that if you have a child, that you have full property rights over that child and you can kill that child if you want, if it's convenient for you.
You heard that right, folks. Michael claims that the Democrats say that it's okay to end the existence of the children in their care.
You have full property rights over that child and you can kill that child if you want, if it's convenient for you.
And you can do so based on pure convenience. This might be the most absurd straw man I have ever seen.
Or even more than that. It's the logic of IVF and surrogacy.
What the... So, Michael's latest hot take is that IVF and surrogacy are basically free passes to off kids at your leisure. I'm gonna wager that the reason Lorna acted in such an atrocious way is because she or her parents were listening to people like Michael who do nothing but demonize those that disagree with him. It's not enough to say that there's rational disagreement on when precisely a fetus becomes a human being. No, instead, you have to paint your enemy out as having deeply immoral views so that you can justify treating them in deeply immoral ways.
The notion that if you have a child or you even have the potential to make a child, that you have total property rights and you can order your child out of a catalog. And if you don't like the way the child comes out, then you can order the child to be killed in the womb of your surrogate, who you also paid for.
Well, there you have it. Michael has to make up the views of his opposition to make his own views even remotely palatable. If the United States even has half an eye open, the Republicans are going to lose based on their critical misunderstanding of abortion alone. And good riddance.